Welcome to Security Guy Radio, Black Hat 2016.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
What's your name, sir?
Darin Andersen.
And what's your company?
CyberUnited. I also work with a nonprofit that we've started around education for cybersecurity for Internet of Things called CyberTech.
Oh, good. Now, what do you do for the first company?
CyberUnited does independent consulting, usually for medium-sized and larger companies, helping them secure their Internet of Things devices.
I like to hear the medium-sized company thing because we hear about the giants, and more people we heard this week that are in the medium-sized, because that's where I think the vulnerabilities really are. You know, big companies kind of take care of themselves.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's a bit of a chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
The larger companies are probably attacked more, but they have more resources to defend.
Right.
Smaller and mid-sized companies do get attacked quite a bit, but they don't really have the defensive capabilities.
My teeny little website got hacked before we got here.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Hopefully they didn't take anything too valuable.
Well, if they take my shows and listen to them, that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my currency, right?
Take my wife. I know. Or my favorite, take my advice. I'm not using it.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's talk about the Internet of Things. We talked a little bit before the show about it. How do you see this all laying out? Everybody's got a different opinion about it. I'm very interested to know how you see it in the big picture.
Well, the big picture is that the Internet of Things is already amongst us, right?
It's here.
It's here, right? So people talk about the coming Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is all the technologies that are connecting up everything else to the Internet. So we talk about originally our smartphones, which is sort of in a way like the first Internet of Things device. Then that would be kind of on the consumer side. On the what we call the industrial internet, where there's a lot of activity as well. That's like SCADA and all the stuff that
industrial
runs the power
controls,
grid.
critical infrastructure.
Yeah, so that's sort of like the two divisions, right? So then if you look at those two things together, there are vulnerabilities across both. The bad guys want to get both. On the one hand, we have the productivity of connecting up everything, my iWatch, my appliances, and as always, technology giving us more productivity and sort of more flexibility. But on the other side of that, you got to guard your freedom and your privacy.
What do you think are the biggest threats to the consumer end?
I would say people sort of trolling for identity and personal credentials and sort of batching those up to sell them. So on a spectrum, you've got a username and password on one end, like that's the low-hanging fruit. But, information like your medical information, which could have an impact on your job or something like that, with an insurance company, that's more sensitive.
So in terms of the consumer end, what do you think, what are some tips maybe that we can, share with them on how to maybe be a little more smarter, like their smart devices?
Well, with cyber, you got to be smart and lucky. And the smart part of that is just what I call basic cyber hygiene.
I love that word.
Right?
I use it all the time.
The idea of just doing basic things to protect yourself. I call it don't walk down a dark street in Paris, right? You wouldn't do that if you're being smart. And when it comes to guarding your cybersecurity identity, your digital identity, we all have one now, it's just being smart about that. So
here's the thing about that. I talk about this in almost every show. I'm 55, but I had a computer when I was 20-something. It was 2 floppy drives. Hard drives weren't even invented yet, right?
I had one of those.
I get all that stuff, right? But most of my peer group doesn't. They missed that technology gap. They're the decision makers now for making decisions on things.
Yeah.
So my dad doesn't get it. He knows about it intellectually, but in practice, right? Yeah. But here's the new thing I'm seeing. Tell me if I'm wrong. My kids, they don't give a crap. They don't care about the security of things and the Internet of Things. Different generation I thought would embrace this. No, they're like, whatever. I don't care. Leave my phone here. Leave my phone. I'll buy a new one. And they're the smart ones that should know about it, right?
Yeah.
The people that invented it, the people that are older than me who invented this stuff, they get it.
Yeah.
What's going on there? It's weird to me.
I think that
this is just
Guys,
this
the
is their color TV.
Yeah,
to
I
us.
think that generation grew up where these things are ubiquitous, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like for us, it was a telephone and maybe the fax machine. For them, it's their iPhone and Facebook, like their way of interacting.
My 3-year-old knows how to use an iPad better than I do.
Exactly.
3 years old.
And
but to our kids, what do you think was their aha? So to me, we got a color TV one day, and that was like the biggest deal in the world. And answering machines, oh my God, high technology, right? And when phones came out, I was like, my mind was blown that cell phones came out. I don't see that our kids have any ahas like that.
I think,
Everything is just like automatic.
Pokemon games
well,
probably
it's
the
their
aha
normal.
for them.
Yeah,
It's
like
their
at
normal.
the point that you actually walk off the cliff
Oh, wow.
with your Pokemon Go, like that you've sort of violated the basic rules of sensibility. I don't know. I think that it is a different generation. They're oriented in a different way. You have to look, too, when you think about security and privacy, at their productivity side. Like, there is a positive sense of all the good things that come from connecting up everything
Yes.
to
Sure.
the Internet of Things. And if you really looked at that, and because we're security people, we're cynical about that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that, you know, the automated car might save 100,000 lives next year because it's braking automatically.
That's
it's
true.
got collision control. And I don't know, like, what's more important, that we make sure the car doesn't run off the road, or, you know, that the security credentials have been updated, you know. So
Or it's sharing data up
yes,
in
we're
the
sharing
cloud.
data with marketers, right?
Yeah.
Right,
It's
yeah.
all part of it.
It drives you to the pizza parlor automatically before you ask for it.
So tell us
Exactly.
about-
It knows you want pizza,
That's
and
right.
it takes you to get pizza.
So tell us about CyberTech.
So CyberTech was founded 4 years ago. We do a number of things, including incubating Internet of Things companies. We're, I think, the second incubator
Wow.
of Internet of Things companies in the country, at least in the U.S. Europe's a little bit ahead of us. China's a little bit ahead of us, as it turns out.
Oh.
But, you know, we're helping companies grow their Internet of Things concepts.
Wow.
And then one of the things we do to promote that, and the idea that the Internet of Things is already here, is we do thought leadership events at places like Black Hat, at RSA conference, which is
All right,
the
good.
large security show. So it's an attempt for us to create awareness amongst
Absolutely.
people in the security community, and also create a bridge between security community folks and people that are making devices, because medical device makers, you know, some consumer products makers, they're not thinking classically in terms of,
Now, why is that? I don't get it.
well, because they never needed it before, because many of their products, let's say a medical device, wasn't connected to the internet.
Nope.
At the point that your infusion pump needs to get connected to the internet so I can update the firmware,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a new connectivity issue. Otherwise, it was a manual thing.
Well, my memory might be slipping, but haven't things like that been online for 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
Maybe.
And we've been hacking vehicles, medical products for 10 years now.
Yeah, so they should have got it. I'm just,
I think it's the media exposure now. I mean, look
Yes.
at, cybersecurity is now in our political fabric.
Yes,
That
that's
wasn't
right.
there
Right.
the last
That's
election. So I think things are changing, more media hype.
okay,
more
but a
attention.
manufacturer has a scientist working there who develops all the technology. It's just in some guy with a hammer and a chisel and an anvil that's making something. This is high tech.
Yeah.
And they have to think in those terms, which I don't. I
They-
know there's a value with because of cost.
They
and things,
usually
but
think in terms of developing the product
Just-
out in some
that's
way.
it.
And as one of my
Getting
young
it to
entrepreneurs
market.
said, I'd rather have a completed product that's 100% done and not secure than a product that's 80% done and secure.
And not at market.
Yes, and the thing is we do teach. Now, I'm not talking about the reference that you make is to a company that's been building stuff for 80 years.
Right.
That engineer actually sees cyber in many cases as an impediment
Yep.
to him having a device. That
I
works.
get that. I get it.
Because, it halts the machine from working, or it could halt the machine. Think about like oil processing. If the cyber thing stopped the oil from flowing through the lines,
Right.
like
Because
that
it
would
blocks
be-
something it
exactly.
shouldn't have. Yeah.
So it's always about that. Like, it's the CEO who says, "What do you mean you blocked my email? Like, how is that possible?"
Yeah.
You
Is there a solution to this? Is it just more education, or is it a cultural shift, or what's going to?
Oh, I
take?
think it's a number of things. Education is certainly a part of it. Technology will always be a part of it. We're going to and are automating more and more aspects of cybersecurity, and that will engender in the IoT space as well. However, as it's been in regular security of phones and laptops, it takes time. So
Wow.
we'll always be running probably a little bit behind.
I mean, it seems like phones have to do it, therefore they do it, right?
Well, phones is a great example. I mean, I would venture to say that all three of us probably keep our phones updated. And one of the things that we do when we do those software updates is update the security.
Yep.
So
Right.
there is hope, right? Like, most of us don't walk around for weeks at a time without patching our phones, and that's essentially
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
So if we could sort of transition that into updating our automobiles and updating our appliances.
But
and
who here
updating-
has a smart TV and has done an update recently? I know I haven't.
Exactly.
It's just out of sight.
I
out
have,
of
and it's
mind.
actually a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as a phone, believe
No,
me.
Yeah,
but I
exactly.
think the TV one is an interesting one because TV models change so
So
often.
quickly.
You
So
know,
often, yeah.
it's like you don't end up you don't really think of it as a vulnerability, but I bet you think of your car as a vulnerability because you drive it every day, and you're like, I just know intuitively, like, I don't want this thing to drive off the road.
Yeah.
Well, I know my son is in some kind of game room somewhere that, doing something, right? And it's all
Yeah,
connected
yeah.
to the TV set.
Well, his gaming devices for sure connected to the
Yep.
internet.
Yeah.
and for
Absolutely.
sure should be patched.
What's the next big thing you see is a major threat?
I
so many of
I
them,
think
but-
the thing that most people are concerned about is a attack on our critical infrastructure,
Absolutely. Me too.
specifically power.
That's what I
I
think.
think that
Absolutely.
we all now have seen enough movies and
Heed
it's
the
in the popular
warnings and-
culture, and we know that it can be done. So it's not like we need another thing to worry about, but that
Yeah.
is a big issue.
It's like who was our guest who was talking about? I can take this out, this out, and this out, but all I have to do really is turn off the switch, and it's all off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the
And
thing.
the thing is like there's 17 categories of critical infrastructure, but power is sort of like the mother of all critical
Yeah.
infrastructure. Because when you take out power, you take out banking and
Everything.
water and many of the things. And
Yeah, I interviewed Cisco, their guy that runs that for them, and
Yeah.
I felt better coming out of that. No, really, they do some interesting things in that market. Is there's still a lot of old manual things
there
out there,
is.
interesting,
I
which make them a
think-
little safer in one way.
Yes.
There's plenty of things that are open there. The interesting thing is many of our key adversaries actually I don't think are interested in affecting our critical infrastructure.
You don't think they are?
I would say, for example, China
Yeah.
may want to have the ability to have an impact on our critical infrastructure, but they want our economy to run.
Well, that's a good point.
A radical jihadist organization may have a different motivation.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
may want to
Harm.
make us suffer in some way.
Yeah.
Well, then we
disrupt
can't put them on
economy.
TV,
No, can't
Yeah.
do
and
that.
they want the TV. So that's
Yeah.
an interesting theory.
Yeah, so that's my sense is that we do have adversaries that want certain things like our secrets and our business plans, and
Right.
and then but they want us to run, and they want to slowly like adopt that, and maybe reproduce it. And then there's folks that maybe are a little more malicious.
Yeah. Great. Website once again.
www.cybertechnetwork.org is the nonprofit, and CyberUnited.com is the commercial business.
Great. Thanks for coming on Security
Thank
Guy Radio.
you.
Interesting
Thank you for having me.
conversation.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Great to talk to you.
Thank
you very
Darin.
much.
Absolutely.